G'day, Jess here, and welcome to the bamboo house. We're filming inside my enclosed and netted veggie garden today, although I am showing you one or two things outside of it as well. But today I'm going to be sharing some mistakes I have made in the last season in my garden. This is my first full year of growing a proper veggie garden, so I've done a few boo-boos which I'm going to share with you today in the hope that you avoid doing them yourself, and so that I remember to not make these mistakes again. Let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so mistake number one was where I planted this golden nugget pumpkin. It is not a climbing variety, but I've planted it here in my vine garden against the trellis because when I was planting all of my pumpkins and squash and watermelon, I wasn't paying close enough attention and I didn't realize that this is not, in fact, a climbing variety of pumpkin. So it is now here by my trellis where it really doesn't need to be, because there's lots of other space here in the vine garden where I could have planted this and I could have used this trellis space to my better advantage. So that was the first mistake I made this season. The next mistake I made, which I really made 6 months ago, even though it is now spring, was where I planted this tomato, or tomatoes. There's actually 2 of them in here. Now there is a net here, which is why I can't actually reach in. This is my bamboo house enclosed garden here. So in here we have a larger variety of tomato, and I didn't anticipate how big it would get. It's at the end of its sort of life now, as you can see. There's a lot of tomatoes ripening on there. There's a lot of kind of old dying foliage and things like that. I believe this is Septiora. I'll look that up and put it on screen, but it's a type of tomato disease that makes it look ugly but doesn't really affect the fruiting of the plant. So I've kind of just let it do its thing. I actually had a friend of mine who is a plant disease and pest scientist visit this weekend, and she had a walk through the garden and was really impressed by how healthy it was, which I was really chuffed about considering this is my first year really doing anything like this. But yeah, she confirmed to me that that's what this disease was. I will be pulling these out very soon anyway, because we don't grow big tomatoes here through the summer because they just get smashed by fruit fly. So there's no point. I only grow cherry tomatoes. Well, I did last year, and it's one of those pieces of subtropical gardening law that you just pick up, is that you don't grow big tomatoes through summer in our climate. Even though this is like my first proper year actually having a proper garden, I've tried on and off over the years to grow little bits and pieces. So putting this here, I don't know if you can see, there's like a pink string, and there's actually just here, there are also 2 bits of twine that as the plant grew, I realized it didn't have enough support, just like the little bits of, these little bits of trellis in there that I'd put in there was not enough. So I had to like jury rig up this concoction to try to hold the plants up so that they didn't just fall over onto the ground. But it worked enough to get fruit, and that really is the main thing, but I won't make that mistake again when I grow these next year. Right, mistake number 3 was planting this in here. This is an absolutely ridiculously large everlasting daisy. I had no idea that this was going to get this enormous, and it's really in the completely wrong spot. I think the reason it has gotten this big is partially because when I planted it, it didn't get a lot of sun, and I think it was like stretching up to the light. I mean, they do get tall, but it should not get this big. Like the bottom of this is about 1.5 feet off the ground, so like 1/2 meter off the ground, and it is like half a meter taller than me, and I'm tall. I'm 176 centimeters, 5'9". So this plant has just gotten ridiculously big. I really should have pulled it out by now, but it was flowering. I mean, it's had the pretty flowers, and they're not actually open at the moment because it's been raining today. And yeah, there's another one over here, which has kind of actually accidentally acted like a bit of a trellis for my aforementioned tomatoes that I planted here, as you can see, at the end of their life, as I was just saying. So that was another mistake. I have these 2 here, and I've got another one in another garden bed in here. I will not plant these in this garden again. They are too big. And honestly, going forward, my plan inside the bamboo house garden here is I really only want to plant stuff that's edible. I want to make sure 100% of what I plant in here is edible, flowers included, even though I do want a lot of flowers in here because my goal is polyculture. So I've got borage, I've got calendula, I've got nasturtium, a whole bunch of flowers like that in here. But yes, this placement of this everlasting was a big mistake, and I will be pulling this out very, very soon to make space for some new stuff in this part of the garden bed. Speaking of flowers planted in the wrong place, may I introduce you to my hollyhock? Again, did not realize how absolutely enormous this plant would be, and I planted it in the complete wrong spot because down here, this direction is north, right? So that is where the sun is coming from in winter. We have some trees and stuff back behind the bamboo house here that we're actually going to cut back before next winter. There's some trees in there we don't want to have here because we're trying to slowly revegetate the perimeter of our property to be native. And so there's some stuff in there we're going to remove completely, but there's some other ones that we're just going to cut back and let bush out again to keep them low so the sun comes in to this garden properly in winter, which it did not this year. Things still did okay, but everything will grow better if it gets more sun. So this hollyhock, as you can see, is enormous, and it basically shaded this bed. And I had garlic in this bed as well. So that was not a great combination because the garlic just didn't really get enough sun. I still got a crop from it. I got a lot more garlic at the end than I had at the beginning, but they're very small cloves, and I think they would have done a lot better if they'd gotten more sun. Again, not really edible, so I'm going to take it out and it's not going to come back in here again. This is not something that I'm going to grow in this garden again. I might grow it somewhere else on the property potentially, but we'll see. So yes, again, not really paying enough attention to the size that this plant was going to be. I've done really well mostly with that in this garden. I did think about which way the sun was going to be coming and how the sun was going to be moving, and making sure that, the smaller plants were on the north facing side of the garden beds, and I've orientated the garden beds to capture that sun. But I made a few mistakes with plants like this one that I did not realize were going to be so enormous. So yes, that was mistake number 4, was planting this hollyhock in the complete wrong place. Just while we're on the subject of planting the wrong thing in the wrong place, so I've shown you 2 flowers that I planted in the wrong place, and I think part of the reason for that is I planted a lot of flowers this year that I've not really any familiarity with. Like, I've not seen them before in reality, or I've never grown them before. I mean, I've not grown most of them before, but you know how vegetables, you might have a little bit of a better idea of the size of the plant. Although I am going to get to one of those in a minute that is a bit bigger than I thought it would be. This seems to be the theme of this video, is things are actually either smaller or bigger than I thought they were going to be. But anyway, I came up with a little bit of what I hope is the solution for this, and that is, now when I plant a flower seed, on the plant tag, I actually write the size that it will go to when it's mature. So I actually put the height of that on the tag, because by the time I've planted the seed and then I go out and actually plant the seedling, it's been like a month or 2 or longer, and I've totally forgotten how big this plant is going to get. So by writing it on the tag, it means that when I plant it, I can go, okay, this is going to get 30 centimeters high or 60 centimeters high or 2 meters high, and I can plant it in the right place accordingly. So that has been a little hack that has been working for me since I've made these mistakes of planting these enormous flowers in the wrong place. Okay, let's talk mistake number 5. Welcome to the zucchini garden that is going on here. Zucchini, zucchini, zucchini. These are still pretty young plants, and you may notice something, and that there is a lot of them. So basically in this garden bed, I have 3 on this side that are one variety, which is, it's a straight neck, zucchini straight neck, okay, and in the other bed, the other side of the bed over there, I have 2, which I think are the kind of more traditional type. Let me just go check what variety they are. Okay, through the jungle here. Okay, you can see the other type of zucchini. There's a tag here. Oh, this is a cosmos. But hey, look, you can see what I was talking about how I've got the height. So that's 120 centimeters, so 1.20 meters in height. So that's one that I've put in the right place. And where is the, oh, there it is. Ooh. Okay, so this is, yeah, Black Beauty. So like a more traditional zucchini. Put that back so I don't lose it. And yes, as you can see, the zucchinis here are quite something. Yes, so I have 3 straight necks on this side and 2 on that side. Now what happened was that I planted my seeds. This bed was like empty 2 months ago. I planted these seeds here and did the thing where, you know, you leave 2, but on one of them I left 1 and the other one I left 2. And then on the other side, I planted seeds earlier, but they hadn't actually sprouted. So I was like, what's going on here? I planted another lot and then the 2 plants came up like about a month and a half after these ones started growing. And I'm like, oh, it'll be fine, I'll leave them. I did not realize how enormous the leaves on these plants were. I knew they took up a lot of space, but I didn't realize quite how much space because I'd actually planted some kohlrabi seedlings in the middle of this bed. You can imagine what's happened to them. They are like completely covered by leaves now. They're still growing, but they're not getting very much sun. And because I do polyculture, I try to, you know, mix stuff together. I try not to have just a bed or something. There is other stuff in this bed, like at that end there are alpine strawberries and that I will be moving. That's another video, or it will be. And I also have a capsicum. I also have over this side a couple of capsicums, which thankfully, smart, I actually planted them on the correct side. That's the north facing side. So they are still getting enough sun because they don't have zucchini leaves over the top of them. On this side I have a whole bunch of mustard leaf and perpetual spinach. That again is doing okay because it can handle a bit of shade. And I've got some dill here and there's a little nasturtium and a few other herbs. Anyway, basically these zucchini are enormous plants and they're probably just going to get bigger. I am trying to grow a couple of them vertically. So I've got a couple of them that are staked. As you can see, I've got the stakes here that I'm going to grow upwards. But I'm going to let one of each type grow traditionally as well because, like I said, in other videos and probably in every video for a while, it's the first year I've grown this. So I kind of want to see what happens each way. I want to see what happens growing them both ways because a lot of the videos I've been seeing in the last year as I've been learning about all of this have said grow them vertically. It's great, it's better for disease resistance, etc., etc. And in my climate, especially as we're coming into the wet season, the hot wet season, it makes a lot of sense to do that. But I am just curious as to how they'll grow traditionally as well. So that's why I'm letting some of them grow like along the ground and some of them I'm going to train up the trellis, and I might do an update on that. If you're interested in how that goes, let me know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this video and finding my mishaps amusing, please do give me a thumbs up as well. We're all learning, aren't we? We're all on the journey. And I'm, you know, this might be a video about my mistakes, but I'm actually incredibly pleased with how much I've managed to grow this year and how well the garden seems to be going. It's have been so rewarding, and that's part of why I started this channel, is because I just want to share what I'm learning and hopefully help other people, especially those of you who are in my climate, to not make my mistakes. I'm sure I'll make mistakes every single year, but if I'm here and tell you about them, then more than me can just learn from those mistakes. So that's 5 mistakes. Let's see if we can find any more. Spoiler, there's plenty. To continue the theme of this video, welcome to my pepino. It's not the only one I have, but this one has just gone off like a frog in a sock. I do not know exactly why this particular, I have another one over there and I have one out there. I think the one out there just hasn't got enough sun. This one just seems to be in the perfect position, and it has just, like, look at the size of it. It's redonkulous. Like, I did look up how big these plants were supposed to get, and I did look at videos and see people growing them. They did not look like this. What is this? This is just, it's huge. Look, I'm not complaining. It's super cute, and I'm super excited to see what the fruit are like because I've never tried one before. Hopefully they're nice. There are a few fruit in here. I actually came and hand pollinated this week because it was having heaps of flowers, but not enough fruit. Oh, look, here's a baby one. Can you see that? Probably not. It's pretty small. There is a big one over here somewhere. Oh, there's another one growing. See that one? There. And there's a bigger one down here. Here we go. This one here. That one there. So it is starting to produce fruit. I'm not sure how long it's going to take till this fruit are ready to be eaten, but this is like taking over this corner of the garden. It's obscuring this pathway here, but I really don't want to cut it back until it's finished fruiting because I want as much fruit as it can give me. And then I guess I'll just hack it back for the next season and let it grow again, or I'll move it. I'm not sure, but it's so happy here. I kind of am loath to move it, even though it's like spilling out and blocking so much of my pathway. But it's not really, like it's only actually in a tiny bit of the actual garden bed. Like it's just mostly over the pathway. Like you can see I've got this massive cabbage here that I really need to pick. It's way overdue. And I've got some cucumbers growing up that trellis, and I've got a crap ton of basil here, which again I need to cut back. There's some corn behind me, polyculture for the win, some carrots in here, some borage, all sorts of stuff happening. But this pepino, following the theme of this video, is huge in kind of an inconvenient space. But I'm just going to let it do its thing because I want to see how many fruit I can get off it. I will probably do a video on that. I'm actually planning on doing a video about this pepino and its progress. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that future video. Did you hear that thunder? Might be wrapping up my filming pretty soon. I can see the clouds coming. Oh yes, over there. There are some rather dark clouds. Okay, anyway, pepino. Gorgeous plant. Hopefully I'll get a bunch of fruit off it and hopefully it'll be delicious. I will let you know. Well, there are more mistakes that I've made, but the thunderstorm is coming and I need to wrap up filming this video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something. And if you did, like I said, please give me a thumbs up and say hey in the comments. I'd love to know where you are, who you are, what sort of garden you're growing, where is your garden? Are you in the subtropics like me? And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.